because I always believe that as an investor, one of the toughest things, because usually at the top tier markets and ecosystem, money is commodity. And a lot of time, usually the toughest deals, you have to really chase them, and then you need to differentiate yourself as someone who bring in value. What do you do, like to differentiate yourself as an investor to get into all of these top deals?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So there are two things at the firm level and at the partner level. I mean, at the firm level, it's the firm brand name, and what we can market is like what's unique about NextView. What we typically say is that a couple of things. One, we are actually hands-on lead investor. So you think there are a lot of seed funds out there, but the seed funds who can actually lead deals and say yes without waiting for other people to say yes, do the work as a lead investor, post-investment actually spending time with companies, and take the moral responsibility when things are going well or not going well. That's actually more rare. I mean, we still have competition in that category, but it's probably like 20, 30 firms in the US. It's not 600. So that's one. Now, that being said, I would say usually what we tell founders is that we are very collaborative partnerships. Most venture firms have a decent amount of politics, and it's very individualistic in terms of how they structure their economics or how they actually work. We tell founders like you buy one, get three free, in the sense that like you talk to any of our founders and they'll be like, oh, Melody led my deal, but Dave helped me with this and Rob helped me with that. And that's very powerful. What it comes down to is founder reference. So when we get to the stage, if we get founders to call our other founders, we can usually win. Not 100%, but our win rate is probably like 90% once we get to a term sheet stage. The other thing I would say is that every one of us, had either been a founder or operator before investing. So this is not to say I'm going to help build your business, because I'm not, right? My job is to invest in teams that are going to make most of the right decisions. But I think having gone through that ourselves gives us, I would say, two things. One is empathy, and two is operating muscle. By operating muscle, I don't mean like, oh, this is the right analytics stacks to use, because 5 years from now, that knowledge is going to be stale. So to tactical answer is not very helpful. What is more helpful is like, I innately understand how the sausage making process feels like. It's not that straightforward. Culture is not that straightforward. Growing from a team of 30 to 60 is not that straightforward. And I know like how that feels like, and can hopefully be a more effective sounding board to the founders. So that's at the firm level. And of course, like, having kind of winning records and now having companies that are more mature can point to, that's helpful. At the individual, like how I compete, I say that I lean in a lot of the kind of my personal company building experience. And I think hopefully that reflects in the quality of the conversations that I have with founders, like ask smart questions and really understand their business. And specifically, I point to two things that I can be more helpful, probably than your average investor: product and hiring. Product, because I've done it, and I can be another set of eyes and sounding board to that. And hiring, because at Blue Apron specifically, I had to grow up as a hiring manager from like never manage anybody. And I had to hire senior people, VP level people. I'd hire product people. I'd hire designers. I'd hire analytics and data scientists. I had to hire like 30 plus people in 2 years. So there's a lot of hiring. And I also, I think that's like one of the things that a lot of founders never really had experience doing, even though they were experienced industry people. So I try to do that. And I'll say the other thing is, honestly, like I'm reflecting one of the most recent investments. So Prequel, I actually know this because I know that they were deciding between us and another very reputable firm. I found out who they were afterwards. And to be honest with you, I was quite surprised that we won. Because they're like, the GP there is like 15 years older than me, and they're like a respected name. So they're like a peer firm and very respected. And I was reflecting on that. Obviously, it's one example. I think that it's a combination of like, the personal rapport you build with the founders, because founders want, every founder chooses differently. Some just optimize for the highest price. Some optimize for like, hey, do I want to, can I trust this person? Can I spend like the next 5-7 years being a partner with this person? So being able to build that rapport is pretty important. And it's tougher to do that through Zoom. It's much easier to do that through in person. So that's a challenge. And the other thing I think is probably just like, who do we think actually like know our business? And that was pretty interesting because that was like that was a data infrastructure investment. So I lean in on a lot of like, hey, I helped build a data science team, analytics team at Blue Apron. I understand the problem you're solving. And I think that probably was very helpful as well. And they did some founder references, calling the founders I work with. And I know they all said great things. I'm really grateful for that. And I think that helped as well. But I think you lean in on those things and, to eventually get to a record, winning record. And then you're like associated with iconic companies, but that takes a long time. So I think those are kind of but I'll tell you, I've lost, I've had term sheets out and I've lost a couple of deals in the past before too. Sometimes because I was too cheap, sometimes because I was too slow, sometimes just because. So you win some, you lose some, but if you don't lose at all, that probably means that you're not taking enough risk as a fund. So that's the one thing I would say.